Hello, and welcome to We Read Allegedly, where we allegedly read books. It's an all-girl cast.
Heyo.
Because John had to go be responsible.
We kicked him out again.
Eventually, you will hear the episode that I missed recently, because camp.
Eventually, I'll edit the episode you missed recently.
Yay! So, we are going to be talking about a book called Forging Hephestus by Drew Hayes. It was a me pick. But before we get into that, Squid, do we have a game?
We do! We're going to play an all-new game today because I have been getting a lot of summer reading list recommendations to my inbox between all of the book things that I follow. So I thought it'd be very funny to try and make Celeste guess what some of these books are. Because as we know, book titles are always very indicative of the content within the book.
Always.
Always. As in, Forging Hephestus is about metalworking. So I have 5 books here that are from NPR's.
That was a wild list. I glanced over it when you originally sent it, and I was like, NPR has a book list?
Now I can't even remember if that's what I actually pulled them from. Yes, from NPR's Books to Read this summer. So I'm going to give you the title.
Okay.
If you would like, I can also give you the author. I don't think any of these authors are people I'm familiar with, so I don't know that it will help.
You never know.
And then for 1 point, if you can guess the genre. And for a second point, if you want to just take a stab at what you think this book is about.
Okay.
And I'll accept perhaps anything that gets even slightly close.
Okay. Gonna make it real hard here.
I've not read any of these books, so this is not my recommending them to anyone, as some of them are probably not good.
Oh no.
Cannot say I've checked them for content. Alright, the first book is called The Slip by Lucas Schaefer.
Oh, that sounds like a thriller.
Thriller does not show up on the first 6 or 7 that I can see.
Okay, do I get a second guess, or do we just call it?
Sure, you can give it a second guess.
Okay. It's gonna be a what do you call it? The super serious stuff, like
a literary fiction?
Yeah, literary fiction. That's what I'm thinking of.
Now, that is number 7 on Goodreads' list of genres. So it's
it
up
counts.
there.
It counts.
In there.
It's in the top 10. Okay. Literary fiction. It's going to be about, I'm just going to make this up. It's going to be about a little girl who is super, super skinny and her triumphs as she deals with a crap mom who doesn't feed her because she is literally a slip of nothing.
Okay, I see where you went with the title. And the title is in this at least indicative of what the book is about.
Is it about an actual slip?
No, it is more about the movement of giving someone the slip because it's about a boxer. A young boy. So it's it looks like it might be a coming of age story for a 16-year-old boy who, has never felt comfortable in his skin, but is training under an ex-fighter and wants that kind of swagger. And it says, bobbing and weaving across the ever-shifting canvas of a changing country, this slip is an audacious, daring look at sex and race in America that builds to an unforgettable collision in the center of the ring. There you go. But I like where you were heading, so,
Yeah.
That's 1 point for literary fiction.
I feel like my book would make sense. It'd be interesting.
Yeah. I was thinking when you started describing it, you were thinking, she has a slip. That was, something she was given.
No.
But she is a slip. Yeah.
That would have worked, too. Yeah. But I was trying to...
both.
Because literary fiction tends to be very allegorical.
Yeah.
And so I was going with the wordplay.
The first tags on this were... 1, just fiction, because that's how Goodreads likes to tag things, and then historical fiction, because it takes place in 98. LGBT, sports, historical, and literary fiction are the big ones.
Wild to think that 98 is historical fiction now. I might be offended.
Yeah. I think it's technically historical fiction because it's written right now.
Oh.
About 98, as opposed to
being written in 98.
Right. Okay. Book number 2. This is Meet Me at the Crossroads, a novel by Megan Giddings.
That sounds like a chicklet.
It is about girls. There are girls in the book, I can confirm.
I wish I could see the title because that would tell me, see the cover. That would give me a lot more information.
Would you like me to send you a picture of the cover?
No, because that's not fair. Because our readers are not our readers. Our listeners, allegedly that are listening, won't be able to see it. So
they could look it up.
But legitimately, I've gotten to where I can pinpoint at least modern marketing for covers.
I'm going to send you a picture anyway, and then you can judge a book by its cover and its title.
Oh, that's definitely a supernatural book. Oh, is it? She's meeting someone at a Devil's Crossroads.
It is not. It is like fantasy. It's sci-fi, fantasy, magical realism, or speculative fiction.
Oh.
It says, on an ordinary summer morning, the world is changed by the appearance of 7 mysterious doors that seemingly lead to another world. A new dimension filled with beauty and resources beckons them to step into adventure. But perhaps, inevitably, people soon learn that what looks like paradise may very well be filled with danger. And it's about 2 twin sisters and kind of their bond as they consider whether or not they should explore this. There might be devils in there. I don't know.
Well, no, there's an old Southern myth that, that when you meet the devil at the crossroads.
It doesn't mention it, but they might be.
It might be in there.
Yeah, they might be in there. All right.
You never know.
Book number 3, The Fire Concerto by Sarah Ladinwich.
That is going to be a literary fiction novel, and it's going to be about a violinist.
No, but it did say on one of the things that if you liked a book that had violin in the title that's now not on the Goodreads one, that you would like it. It's a historical fiction, mystery thriller. Let's see. It is a beautifully written, evocative, literary page-turner about a brilliant female musician lost to history and another woman's quest to ensure that she's not forgotten.
What did you say the name of it was?
The Fire Concerto.
I apparently can't. Apparently Goodreads thinks that when I am trying to type concerto, that I am trying to type The Concrete Flamingo, and that's a book I didn't know existed.
Well, maybe you need both. However, Goodreads is currently offering this one as a giveaway.
Oh.
So if you want to win the Fire Concerto, you can. One of the reviews said something about it being written very musically, which I find interesting. So I'd be curious to see. Okay. Book number 4. We've got 2 left. This is the one that I said I was going to include just for the title. And it's because it's such a long title. This is The CIA Book Club, The Secret Mission to Win the Cold War with Forbidden Literature by Charlie English.
Well, clearly that's a book about World War II.
It is, I would assume, a book about World War II, not the Cold War.
Not the Cold War at all. Not about reading banned books.
No. I will say that this one is a nonfiction.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm still supposed to be guessing the genre.
Yes. I think you might be able to guess the genre based on the title.
It is going to be a historical nonfiction.
It is historical. That is number 1 on its list of tags.
Woohoo!
Followed by nonfiction, politics, espionage, and military fiction. Would you like to guess what the CIA Book Club is?
Cats in animation?
Yes. How did you know? During World War II. This is very interesting, and I kind of want to read it.
Okay. Now, what is it?
This is the astonishing story of the 10 million books that U.S. intelligence smuggled across the Iron Curtain during the Cold War.
Oh.
And it was their attempt to undermine censorship of the Soviet bloc.
That does sound interesting.
Yeah, from copies of Orwell to Agatha Christie.
Orwell's boring, but I can see his purposing. The purpose of them being like,
I
no.
mean, reading 1984 while living in the Soviet bloc.
That's fair. That probably makes it a lot more interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Last book, which I picked because the title was not the title, the cover was pretty. This
Valid.
book is called Killing Stella by Marlene Haushofer, translated by Sean Whiteside. So I'm going to assume it's probably like Dutch or Danish or German.
It's going to be about a young woman who leaves Eastern Europe to create a new life, either in America or one of the more prosperous countries. And it's probably going to either be a historical fiction or a historical nonfiction.
It is. I didn't read the description of this one before I played the game.
Oh no.
Fascinating. It is a fiction. Fiction is its first tag, followed by classics.
Oh.
Which I guess it must just be translated into English because it was first published in 1958.
Oh, wow.
So the release must be the English translation.
Gotcha.
It is German literature and a novella, and those are the only tags.
Okay.
So you got it because it's fiction. It doesn't actually have any other genre tags.
Goodreads says figure it out. Read the book.
So I'm going to read you the whole description on this one because it's just a paragraph and a half. Left alone for the weekend while her husband and 2 children are visiting her in-laws, the narrator of Killing Stella recounts the addition of her friend's daughter, Stella, into their already tense and tumultuous household. Staring out the window to her garden, she worries about the baby bird in the linden tree, about her husband, Richard, who flirts from one adulterous affair to another, about her son's gloomy demeanor and her daughter's obliviousness to everything, and most of all, she worries about Stella, a confused teenager who has just met a sudden and disastrous end. A domestic horror story that builds to an apocalyptic ending. Killing Stella distills many of the themes of Marlene Haushofer's acclaimed novel, The Wall, into a claustrophobic, gothic, shattering novella.
Yeah.
So that sounds like an uplifting note to end on.
That definitely sounds like something I'd read.
This is the one that I said, that sounds
it's not yet published. It comes out in English in a few days.
Yeah. That's what I was like, this must be its first English translation.
Okay, this woman wrote a lot. Can't say any of the names, except for one called The Wall. I feel like this author might be up your alley.
Probably. I mean, I feel like brutalism and German writing kind of goes hand in hand.
I feel like German writing and Russian writing are similar, and you enjoy Russian writing. So, okay, well, that was our game. Shall we talk about our book?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we are reading Forging Hephestus, The Villain's Code #1 by Drew Hayes. I'm going to go ahead and read what Goodreads has to say about it. It says, gifted with metahuman powers in a world full of capes and villains, Tori Rivas kept away from the limelight, preferring to work as a thief in the shadows. But when she's captured trying to rob a vault that belongs to a secret guild of villains, she's offered a hard choice. Prove she has what it takes to join them or be eliminated. Apprenticed to one of the world's most powerful and supposedly dead villains, she is thrust into a strange world where the lines that divide superheroes and criminals are more complex than they seem. The education of a villain is not an easy one, and Tori will have to learn quickly if she wants to survive. On top of the peril she faces from her own teacher, there are also capes and fellow apprentices to worry about, to say nothing of having to keep up a civilian cover. Most dangerous of all, though, are those who loathe the guild's very existence. Old grudges mean some are willing to go to any length to see the guild turn to ash, along with each one of its members, even the lowly apprentices.
You just felt that in every page of this book.
Okay, Squid, I know you didn't care for it.
You don't get to be Switzerland today because John's not here.
No. Well, I wouldn't anyway because I legitimately enjoy this book.
I would love to know what you enjoyed about this book.
It has good banter. It has good sarcasm. The story,
good sarcasm.
The storyline is complex enough to keep me going. Like I care about the characters, but not some of them, but not all of them. But at the same time, it's not super heavy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'll represent John's position first.
Okay.
Before I dive too far in, because me and John both agreed about the fact that this man should not write novels.
Oh.
He should not be writing anything long form. It's not his thing. I, as you know, like to take notes when I read my book, so I have my little tabs in my book.
Mm-hmm.
From page 80 to page about 380, I have no notes because these pages were so boring.
Oh no.
And shouldn't have been in the book. This book should have been 300 pages shorter, if not more. Because I kind of had the same thought when we were reading Fred, where I was like, as short stories, these are great. When you put them together for a book, they miss something. When he tried to write a book that was 700 pages long, he lost the plot. He could not hold my attention.
Okay.
There were a lot of times in this book where he would tell me the developments without showing, and with 700 pages, he's got time to show developments. He's got the time. But instead it was like, well, they're starting to get along better now when talking about Tori and Ivan, two of the main characters. And I'm like, yeah, but you never really showed them not get along. And you never really show them now changing their dynamic. You just kind of told me they're better now. You got time. Show me. Let me see it. I want to see it happen. Make me care. There are some good one-liners. He is still good at humor and, those witty banter pieces. But
oh, yeah. Which honestly is one of the main things I enjoy in books. If I can get some good witty banter, then I'm going to enjoy the book.
There was just so much between the banter. It didn't need to be there.
I'm curious as to what was happening. Like, because again, I listened to the audiobook. So in the areas where you didn't tab anything, like
the story that was taking place, it was a lot of...
Was that the first challenge?
It was definitely the first challenge.
That one was kind of dull.
It was the people breaking into the business.
Oh, yeah.
And the stick-up.
See, I liked that because that focused more on Donald.
Yeah, which was fine. It's just that it wasn't, when surrounded by everything else, I was like, this could have been a focus, and instead it's kind of just another scene. There's a lot of scenes of kind of Tori just after something has happened, talking about what happened. And I was like, I just watched it happen, and now I'm just hearing her talk about it again. A lot of her training scenes aren't, I didn't even mind the first mission they had in the desert kind of thing. Yeah. Woods, desert, wherever they were. In their fake environment.
They might have been on another planet. You never know.
Yeah. Who's to say, really? But
that comes up in book 2.
They don't focus on those enough and then put so much extra just random. And then you were also doing this training. And then they also did this. Where it's just don't say that. Or show me it. It's a lot of it just feels like it's, oh yeah, I need to get to the next action point that I want to get to, but I feel like there needs to be things between action points. So I'm going to put in a few pages of stuff that happens between. It's well, at this point, you should just put the action points in, because your in-between points aren't adding anything to the story, really.
I feel like that this is a difference in, I don't know about John, because he's not here to defend his opinion, but it's a difference in enjoying like slice of life style stuff and not?
Well, I like slice of life.
Oh, well, maybe not then.
The problem is, and I think I specifically felt this in comparison to Salem's Lot. Because we were talking about character studies. Because I love a good slice of life where it's just kind of characters talking.
Yeah.
To each other. The thing is that it didn't feel like he cared about any characters except Tori and Ivan.
That's fair.
And even those, he didn't really want to develop. He just wanted to use them to talk about his cool villain story that he was coming up with. Which was like, okay, I guess. But then you really have to be sold on the cool villain story.
Right.
Because if you're not going to spend time developing your side people to make them all feel like they have lives when they're not on the page, then I better care about what's happening on the page.
This is fair.
Page 30. I'm not often one that makes guesses. But on page 30, I did go, bet that's his ex. When Ivan talks about Lodestar the first time.
Right. That was not well hidden.
I was like, oh, okay, so that's just his ex then. Okay. I think it's the one thing he tried to be coy about at the end of the book, and I was like, it wasn't. We knew that was coming.
It's ironic, though, because you discover later in the book that she's not actually his ex.
Is he the father of the child?
No. No.
Hmm.
Later in the book. In the second book, you realize that they've always had a thing for each other, but then his disregard for the rules and her regard for the rules always,
which is wild because the most orderly person in this book is him.
Yes, he just doesn't want to take part in other people's rules. He will hold,
but he does.
to the rules that he thinks are important, but not to the ones that he doesn't.
I had the nitty-gritty of this book. I had so many problems with the world. And one of my biggest problems could have been solved easily.
Okay, what was one of your biggest problems?
Why don't we know what the villain's code is?
We do.
What's the villain's code?
The villain's code is don't draw attention to yourself and don't take off the capes.
Yeah, but they have a whole book. So I know it's more than 2 lines.
That's fair.
So I know there's going to be bullet points. And I feel like even if he wanted to pretend to have fun literary design to his book, he could have started each chapter with rule 1, this, and then have things kind of reflect that through your narrative. But instead, they just mention the code a lot, and then, yeah.
This is fair. I would be intrigued to have a book in this world that does do that. That's like rule 1, and then either show someone who's holding to the rule or is just blatantly breaking the rule.
Yeah. I feel like the way that it just came across to me at the end was that I wasn't sure that he knew what the rules were. It felt like he came up with the concept that the villain's code exists, but then didn't want to actually make the villain's code.
Maybe I don't remember them ever saying that it was a whole, book.
It's the first thing Ivan hands to Tori.
That doesn't mean that it's a thick book, though.
It doesn't, but it means it's more than 2 lines.
Well, because technically, Francis Schaeffer has a book, and it's, 80 pages? If that?
Yeah. I don't think it's a big book. But I would at least expect 5 to 10 points of their code that they follow. Or at least a breakdown of what the 2 points mean.
I feel like that's the breakdown is probably what takes up the space.
Yeah. Which is, it felt like it wasn't real. Because it was just always this kind of vague,
right,
amorphous thing.
I can see that.
That he could have put in there. It could have been there. Instead, I had to hear once more that she was just learning what the code was again.
Indeed.
I like books that challenge me.
Mm-hmm.
This is not surprising based on the books that I read.
No.
But I can read books that don't and be fine. One of my problems with reading his book is I felt like he wasn't challenging himself. And he was just like, I came up with a cool idea. That's the only work I need to do. And then kind of phoned in the rest.
That is possible.
For 700 pages.
I don't know. I've read some stuff that he has written about writing these books,
Mm-hmm.
and he approaches it like each chapter is an episode of a show.
Yeah.
And each book is a season. So to me, like, this would make a good show. Like, because I do see what I'm reading
Right.
and what I'm listening to. For me, it worked because I didn't necessarily need all the details.
Yeah. I think it could work better as a show because I feel like the book had no nuance at all.
That is possible.
Because everything he wanted to say, he said in dialogue. So when your characters are just telling you the facts and you're not actually seeing them reflected anywhere, it's just kind of all black and white. And you just have to accept it all at face value. Which is not really what you want. You want to have some kind of, maybe they are the bad guys. Maybe they are the good guys. But instead it just came across as there's no villains in this world except like 3 dudes. And they're not even a part of the villains guild. So,
I mean, you never know.
all of which is not my biggest problem with this book.
Oh no. What's your biggest problem?
Perhaps is surprising to no one if you've picked up this book. I have deep, deep questions that I would like to ask this man about why he felt like it was necessary to include the character of the Whitest Knight.
Agreed.
And I mean that in such a deep, like, ethical level of why did you do this? Because I really thought, I think I sent you a message right away to be like,
yeah, you did.
Did I really just read a sentence that said the Whitest Knight? Is this is this gonna be what I think it is?
Yeah.
And is this character just here for, like, in the future a villain to show up and, like, kill him so we can be like, haha, got him? Why is he here? Because we don't meet him. We only hear about him by the heroes. We learn that the heroes could not kick him out of the Heroes Guild because it's constitutionally fine, I guess. And that apparently that they were okay stopping at that point when the law wouldn't do anything and they weren't even like, well, we just won't let him go out on our missions. They were just like, oh, well, what are you gonna do? And then we hear about him again from one of the villains when we're talking about how the heroes were very segregated in the 60s, which makes sense. Probably happened in the world of metahumans that were around in the 60s. No one says the word racist. No one uses that term. But they do explicitly say that the Whitest Knight flies around in a robotic Klansman outfit. Capital K Klansman outfit.
I definitely have issues with that character as well.
What?
I am just glad that he was not more of a focus.
Because
we would not be having this conversation if he had been.
I truly, it is baffling to me. And then the conclusion is we meet him in person for 2 paragraphs where he goes, Lodestar, you showed up. And then she knocks him out and goes, oops, thought you were one of the bad guys. And that's it. Why is he in this book? What is the point? What were we doing?
I don't know. He might have been there so that everybody had somebody to hate, but he also might have been there to show the fact that the heroes hold to the rules so much that they're not willing to get rid of something that's blatantly wrong in their midst.
Questions, I mean, it raises questions about the world itself. Like, I guess people are okay with heroes that are ethically and morally not ambiguous as long as they follow the laws, I guess. Those are the kind of things where I'm like, it feels like he kind of wanted one of those gotcha moments where he can get knocked out in the book without thinking about, how does this act? Like, what does this mean about the world I just made?
Right.
It means some unfortunate things for your Heroes Guild and your villains for not being like, that guy's worse. We don't like him.
Can he be excluded from the code?
Like, it would be, I talked about this kind of with some others where I was like, it'd be more interesting if he was one of the villains and they were like, yeah, we think that's deplorable, but he follows our code, so.
No. At one point they mentioned that he tried to join the villains and they went, get away from us.
Yeah, which is like, again, it creates that weird dynamic where you're like, well, are you bad guys?
Right.
Because you've painted this entire novel to be, you're really not bad guys. Your good guys just follow the rules. So what's my conflict? Like what am I worried about in this world?
There's definitely bad guys because like they pull off heists and
all of their crime is theft and maybe extortion.
I'm pretty sure that murder is on the list of things that they're okay with. As long as it's not
certain people.
As long as they're not related to the Capes.
Exactly. It's just such like a weird, by not allowing your villains to be villainous, it doesn't give us depth of any kind to explore or create interest. It kind of makes everything just, we're bad, but we're not that bad. And we're very sympathetic, so be on our side because the book's about us and we have to make you like us. So we can't do that if we're actually bad guys. It's like, well, it'd be more interesting if you were, though. A lot of us, you clearly haven't looked at a lot of YA fiction. We like bad guys.
Clearly you've never been on Book Talk.
Yeah. Come on. If he'd made this a romantasy book, I'm just saying that Nexus would be great.
There is a character in the second book that I cannot say his name because it's worse than Johnny's.
Good.
But he would probably also be a fan favorite if it was a romantasy book.
This book would be much different if it was a romantasy book, but I don't know. It just felt like there were a lot of moments where he needed an editor to say, sure, that might be a good idea, but let's figure out which good idea you want. Let's develop it. Maybe let's not throw everything in there. And for the love of God, maybe don't make a random throwaway side character a Klansman just for the sake of it.
Yeah, that really...
Because it comes across as kind of, ooh.
Yeah.
And if you wanted your book to be an allegory about racism, do it differently. Because that's, ooh. 1, bit on the nose. And 2, not on the nose enough, oddly. Kind of both sides.
He still has a nose, so that's a problem.
Yeah. And see, and I'm not endorsing violence against people that hold what I believe to be, again, morally and ethically, not ambiguous and wrong. However, there are natural consequences that come if you walk outside in a Klansman outfit, which is not associating with most people.
Yeah. That's fair.
And you can get fired for that. So
you can. Like, that's the part that I don't understand. Like, how could they not kick him out? Because
constitutionally, yes, you can walk outside in that outfit. That is your right. An employer does not have to keep you.
Does not mean you have to work for the AHC.
Which I guess maybe is a government institution.
Yeah.
Whose only rules are the Constitution. Which is a weird set of rules.
Yeah, that's fair.
To set up against crime, I guess.
Right.
But sure. That's it. See, he could have just included their bylaws and it's just, we the people.
Right.
Okay. Weird, but okay.
These people are not big on rules in general.
And for the life, I can't believe he didn't make Apollo a bad guy.
Yeah, that kind of ticked me off.
From the first time I met him, I went, oh, he's a bad guy. Because you're painting him so glaringly like, I'm gonna be a bad guy. No, he's just stupid.
Yeah, he is so stupid.
Because you probably haven't seen The Boys, have you?
I watched the first few episodes.
Because he gave a real Homelander vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, he's got that golden boy, literally golden boy aesthetic of like, I'm the perfect hero. And in the end, he was kind of just a little misguided. But genuinely wanted to help. I guess. He just wasn't good at it. He was dumb.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, you're making good points. You have good reasonings to feel the way you do. I still enjoy the book.
Hey, that's fine. I'm glad you did. I think we agree we'd all enjoy it better without the Whitest Knight in it.
Yes, we would.
But
as soon as because I had forgotten about him, I block him out. I don't think about him.
Well, he's also only in like 3 paragraphs, which is another one of my issues. I'm like, if you're gonna put it in, it better be a point.
Right. Like, why is he just there for?
Otherwise, he's just there and everyone's kind of okay with it. I kept waiting for like the heroes to be like, hey, Villains Guild? There's a theft happening over there, and we sent Whitest Knight to go help out if you, I don't know, happen to be in the area, and more people just showed up.
Nobody would complain.
She's like, I don't know. We're all this block for the next few minutes.
We're just going to all turn around to where you can't hear us.
If I'm not looking, I can't hear you.
Exactly.
But no.
Exactly.
I wish he'd done more with the council.
Yes.
Because I know nothing about Quorum. Except he's smart, I guess. And he's the only one of his kind.
Quorum's power is that he has multiple people in his head. Basically, he is a superpowered schizophrenic.
I like that. I mean, with his name, the naming again is a bit on the nose. So one would assume that he is a Quorum of some kind.
Right.
But he never says that.
It's one of those things of it. I'm almost positive that later you find out it's like he was hit by a rock or something from space.
He just has a head wound.
And
he has a TBI. That's what caused it.
And then it transferred like all these entities that have all this wisdom into his body. I could be wrong. I could be making that up.
Again, he paints him as like, for the very brief snippets we get, like this very smart, knows to kind of Doctor Strange-esque, knows what's going to happen. And then it's just like, you've put me in a jail cell, Apollo. Well, it'll all work out. I'm like, that's your plan?
Yes.
Maybe just stop it before it gets here.
Maybe, just know where to hide the bodies.
Yeah, it came across all just very, like, what's it called? When you just kind of slap a bunch of things together. There's a word for that.
Slapdash.
Thank you. I was flipping them and I was like, hash, smash, slapdash. It all came as like, he just kept having ideas for different heroes and was like, I'm just going to put them in there. I was like, but if you're going to make this many powerful people, you got to tell me about them. If everyone's special, no one is. Okay. And then Lodestar just shows up and punches people on the head to knock them out.
I mean, Lodestar did what I wanted to do to a lot of people, except she did not punch Apollo.
No, well, he was too busy getting punched by Ivan a lot.
That was the most satisfying part of the book.
She just shows up and gives like 100 people brain injuries. And she's a hero. But okay.
Because she's pretty.
Because she's young and beautiful.
She can't be a villain.
There were a few times in this book that I was like, this is the Marvel mentality of fighting, where they're like, we don't kill people, breaks all of their ribs. Like, no, we don't kill people, but that man's going to be in traction and won't walk straight for the rest of his life.
There definitely was some of that superhero logic, and also some of that superhero, just the things that you're having problems with of there not being enough, not Whitest Knight. We all have an issue with Whitest Knight. Yeah. But like the things of not having enough information, that's things that they do in the comic books. Like, they just throw characters out there, and if people are like, hey, what's going on about this one, they'll flesh it out a little bit more.
It does have kind of that vibe of he was like, I'm just going to make a comic book.
Right.
But then he wrote a 700-page novel instead and kind of forgot what a novel is. If this had been a graphic novel, it probably would have been fine. It would have been wild to see the Whitest Knight in it at that point, but it would have been better.
Mistakes were made. It would have been wild to see the people who were breaking the code that had been warned and didn't stop, and then Ivan had to go enforce.
It'd be a lot like a Deadpool comic. It'd be
worse than Deadpool.
Be a lot of goop.
Worse than Deadpool. More like Watchmen.
If you mixed both of them.
Oh, yeah. Because you have to have the sass and the snark.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's another one I'm thinking of too, but I can't remember what it is. But again, just a lot of goop.
I'm thinking of something else.
I did find Nexus interesting, though. I wish Nexus had been more... I wish Nexus was the conflict of the book.
Nexus is something else. I feel like Nexus is the person that's meant to bring the intrigue. The like, well, what are you talking about? What's going on? You know, like in TV shows, you have the side things that you get little snippets of, and it kind of makes you more intrigued for the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, I mean, some of the most intriguing lines were about Nexus, like the first time he shows up at the council.
Yeah.
And it's like, everyone's eyes turn to this man, including the set that wasn't invited to be here. And like, that's how he ended the chapter. And I was like, cool, okay, who's that? What's that? Tell me more. And then it's just this weird dude with stars in his eyes that's like, I see everything, and I kind of like causing chaos.
Oh, my show is on. Like...
Yes. Ooh, it's prime time.
I think he actually used that line at one point.
I think he used it more than once, where it's like, this is my favorite show to watch. And even just being like Quorum, he's the only one of his kind. That's why he's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to give me that line, and then when you show me Quorum, it's going to be like, oh no, you've got me in my room.
He never said Quorum was smart. He just said he was interesting.
He did say that. That is true. But Apollo was dumb.
He was so
that
dumb.
That doesn't bode well for the council if Apollo was smarter than him. Guess it makes sense. The heroes weren't doing so hot, so
they were struggling. So legitimately, though, I can't remember his name, but the guy who was like Professor, what's his name? That
Quantum.
Yes, he is a jerk.
Does he show up more in the second book?
Yes, and I wish he didn't.
I mean, he kind of had the vibe of someone that would be, because he seemed like, I'm smarter than everyone, and I make what makes the world go around. So,
yep, he
like,
thinks he thinks he is the actual sun.
Yeah, that tracks. That makes sense. I wish we had seen him in the book, because that again gives us context to the world instead of one very heroic golden boy and kind of a boring teenager.
She wasn't a teenager.
Yeah, well, she acted like one.
That's fair.
And she had 2 powers for reasons we don't understand.
No, they explained that.
Well, I know why she has them both. I just narratively don't know why he felt the need to give her 2. When she's like the only one that has super intelligence and meta-human abilities.
No idea. Okay. Well, do we have any spiritual speculations?
Don't be racist.
Yeah?
That's my spiritual takeaway. Does that count?
It is, in fact, pretty unbiblical.
Yeah. Just don't do it. Also, don't punch people in the head, which I think is also pretty biblical, but I couldn't name a verse for it.
I can name a verse where they did punch somebody in the head and good things happened.
Okay, well, I guess sometimes you can then.
If the enemy king comes into your tent and is like, hey girl, I'm going to take a nap, it's okay to throw a tent peg through his head.
That's true. Well, that wasn't punching. That's different.
Well, she worked with what she had.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, in that very specific circumstance, if that's what you gotta do,
then you do you.
Chances are good for most people a king ain't gonna come nap in their house. So,
I mean, you never know.
Don't punch people in the head.
Fine.
Follow the real code. It's the Bible, and it's pretty great. But you won't get kicked out of it killed like Ivan does to those people if you break this code.
You might, if you don't ask for forgiveness, though, you might have eternal code enforcement.
We should attempt to uphold the code, but we have a gracious and forgiving God, so thankfully it's not one and done.
Thank God.
Okay. Quite literally. Thank God.
Literally. So I believe we're done. I think we've said everything we can say.
I don't know. I could keep going.
It's also time for me to go to bed.
Yeah. Me too. I'll stop. I'll keep it in.
No. Feel free to let it out in the Discord. Just not on the podcast.
Yeah, when you go to bed, you tell your husband all about that.
Okay, guys. Well, that is it for today. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Bye.
Bye.
We Read Allegedly is part of the Devoted Geeks Network, devoted to letting you know that you're loved. This month, we read Forging Hephestus by Drew Hayes. You can join us next month and every first Saturday as we read and review a new book. Next month, we'll be reading Beloved by Toni Morrison. We'll see you there.